Are you sick and tired of having people work on one piece of content and yet there are multiple documents of it, different versions everywhere, and also people seem to be losing track of what is this about? What are we doing this for? When's it going out? SEO, metadata, things like that. What you need is all of this to be in one single place, and that is a content brief. And a content brief is going to save your bacon and whatever else you need saved. Basically, it's going to create that single source of truth. It is the document that you want everyone working out of. It's the document where you want information about the content so that people keep front of mind, why am I even writing this? Who am I writing this for? Where's it going to be published? And it just keeps track of the versions of the comments, the edits, the suggestions, all of those things in one source of truth. What I'm going to show you today is how to make a content brief. Now, it's easier than you might think. I know it can be a daunting task, but really you just need, and you can let it evolve as you want to, but you want to create a content brief template that you then use for everything after that. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and reduce myself here. I work in Google Docs, so that tends to be where I go, but you can do this in a Word doc, obviously, or anywhere. You can do it in Notion if you want, if that's where you work. But I'm going to open a Google Doc. Okay, and I'm going to start a blank document. All right, I tend to like to work with tables, but you don't have to do that. So I'm just going to create a table really quick where it's just, hey, let me just create like a 2-thing table. First of all, I'm going to call this, I want this to be like, what is the title? Title of content. Okay, and we're going to put that there. Let's say this is like how to create a content brief. Okay. Next, I'm going to say, all right, what is the ship date? I use the word ship, and so do many people. Ship can mean, it's just an all-encompassing term meaning post, publish, send, whatever. It's ship date, so publish date, whatever you want to call it. Let's say I'm going to publish it on Saturday, May 25th, 2024, which is tomorrow. Okay, ship date. Okay, so we have title of the content. What is the format of this? You can make different content briefs for each type of content. Maybe it's an email, maybe it's a press release, a case study. Let's say this is a blog. Okay, so you can say format is blog. All right, and then what we want to do is we want to establish some protocols. Now, one thing that content brief can help you do is not only describe or define the things you need to remember about this document, but also helps people remember the things they should be keeping in mind when they're creating content. We might want to say target audience or ICP, and ICP is ideal customer persona or profile. So we could say women in marketing, because I'm a woman in marketing, and we could say ages 30 to 50, okay, United States. Okay, so that's our audience. You can also put, let's see, you can put what is the length that you want. So length and count, word count. Now that can, obviously there's different word counts you can do. You can do long form blogs, which are like 1,000 to 2,000 words. You can do short form blogs, which are less. So you may not know this yet, but maybe you have your ideal in mind. You can put that there or not. I will show you too that you have the means to count the words, which you can actually do. Hitting Shift Control C in here lets you do word count, so you can actually make a selection and say, here's how many words I've actually got. And you can also display word count by typing if you want. See how it does that? Really cool. All right, so let's move on. Now, I'm probably going to add a couple more things in here, but things that are coming to mind. Some things you want to consider. If this blog is intended to live on your website, you do want to have SEO in mind. So 2 things you're going to need is an SEO title. Now, does that mean it's going to be the same as the title of your content? Possibly not. If I'm publishing this, which I probably will, publish as a blog on my website, but wait, there's more, I'm going to want to maybe include that, although it might be a little bit long. You also want to consider what are your keywords for this, which is another field we're going to be adding in here. Actually, let's go ahead and do that really quick. See how I can just edit this any way I want. So SEO keywords, I would say marketing brief, marketing content, but let's do marketing content brief. I have done no research on that either, but let's just assume that's what I'm going to talk about, okay? So now I've got that SEO title. So that's going to be, and usually you want the SEO title to be up to 55 words, but no more, because remember, this is stuff that could display on Google search results. And so you don't want it to be truncated if you could possibly avoid it. Let's see how, so it could be create a marketing content brief for all types, all formats. maybe that's why. I have my keyword phrase. It is early on, at least in the SEO title. And then the next thing you want to do is SEO description. And I believe that you want this to be up to 105 words. Also, again, to avoid truncation. And I'm not going to write that right out the gate, but that's something that you want to write as well. Again, this is not necessarily something that's going to be visible. This is not going to be visible to the reader of the blog once it's published, but it is going to be in the background and the things you set up so that Google will crawl and index your page on your website and start serving this up to people so they can know it. All right, let's talk about approvers. Who should be approving this content? This is where if you have approvers within your company, you can list them, and you can even list in order. You can say 1 would be Rachel Moore, and then 2 would be John Doe, and then 3 would be Jane, also Jane Moore. Maybe she's related to me, who knows? You can establish those, and I really recommend that because especially as people might gain the link to this, they can do free for all. You should also perhaps establish if they are editors or not, and then do you have any viewers? You could even add a tab for that if you want. Let me go ahead and add a tab for viewers. So if Google does give you permissions, and I believe OneDrive does this as well for Word, but you can say who viewers do I want to have in here that don't have edit permissions, but they can view and possibly suggest. So you can put that in there. So maybe that would be, again, Michelle Maxwell. All right. So we've got some things up there right now. Now, right out the gate, this gives anyone who's opening this document, it's at the top, it's front and center. You're telling them right away, what are the things, the most important things you need to know about this piece of content? There's a couple more things we need to add, but as you can see, people know, okay, it's absolutely due by this date. It's got to get published out on this date. It's a blog. Here's the title of it, How to Create a Content Brief, which can be edited if you want. I'm writing for women in marketing ages 30 to 50 United States. I don't know the length yet, but maybe I'm aiming for 800 to 1200 words. SEO keywords, I need to make sure I'm incorporating marketing content brief as my keywords, and that means they need to appear in some of the headings, certainly in the title, the actual title of the blog as it appears and is published, and sporadically throughout, strategically and not crammed in conversationally throughout your content. SEO description, which you can write, definitely put down who your approvers are, and if you need any viewers or suggesters and things like that. One other thing we want to add, and we might want to add that a little bit higher up here, is actually, let me undo that, is maybe we want to add the slug. So the slug is anything that appears after the .com/ on your website. Now, again, if you have a .net or whatever, but if your blog is appearing, but anything that appears after the initial, your domain, so www.butwaitthere'smore.com/ and it might be /blog/, but whatever is going to appear after that, you can determine that here. How to create, so I would write that in the format, how to create marketing content. For the love of all that's holy, please do not, if you're writing like a super long title, what will happen is if you put that into your website, most likely is the slug will auto-populate to include every single word of the title. You do not do that. Don't do that to yourself. Don't make yourself a slug that is super long, like 10 words long after the .com. You can be brief. I usually I've got 6 words there. That's a lot. I could just actually put this, I like the phrase how to, and I include that in a lot of my things, how to create marketing content brief. But notice that my keyword phrase is also in my slug, okay? All right, that is a content brief. From there, you can actually go down and start drafting your title. You can draft your heading, and then you've got copy. And of course, I always love to use the formatting here that is available to you within Google to be able to say, yes, there's my heading 1, heading 2, whatever, and there's your copy. But that is that's a content marketing brief. See how easy that was? And based on whatever format this is, if this is an email, you're not going to have SEO keyword and SEO title in there because this is not going out to the general public on the web. This is going via an inbox. You can adjust your content brief to be fit whatever needs you have, but do create it and do have it and do enforce that people use it, because at the very minimum, it's going to tell people like, oh, these are the things that not only should I keep in mind, but my marketing person is keeping in mind as they're creating this content. And it also just helps you create a process and create that single source of truth that all of us need so badly. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please like the video. If you found it really helpful, please subscribe to the channel and tell all your friends that this is something that helped you with your marketing.